Todd with SpectraSonix here. Today we're going to talk about the new Kirchhoff EQ. Can it fix a bad mix? Let's find out. A few days ago I downloaded the Kirchhoff EQ. It has some really cool features that I think can really help when dealing with problem mixes. I made this mix quite some time ago before I invested in myself in mentoring and spent thousands of hours in ear training to become a mastering engineer. And so it has some flaws to it. It's not a bad mix, but it has some problems. I used mix bus compression and limiting on the mix bus, and it's a little heavy. I would normally say go back to the mix and fix it in this case. However, I do not have access to the original files. This is a perfect place for Kirchhoff to come in and solve the problem. We're going to be digging pretty deep into the low frequencies and dynamics here, and so you're going to need to be able to hear this. If you're listening on a phone or on laptop speakers, go ahead and subscribe and come back to it later, because you're going to need to hear it on studio monitors or on some good headphones. So let's have a listen to the mix and see if we can find some problems. So on the whole, it sounds pretty good, but if we go over here to my listen hub, we can listen to just the sub frequencies, turn it up a little bit. I think we'll find a problem here with the kick. Okay, so we listen to the bottom. The 808's taking up all the space. The kick drum's not coming through at all. The first thing we want to do is set up the EQ. We want to go ahead and hit the A button here, which makes it automatically do gain compensation. That's going to make sure that as we're adjusting things, we are still listening to the same level so that we're not using loudness to make it sound better. All right, the next thing we want to do is go ahead and put in a high pass filter. It'll help with mastering and help us hear the bottom end more clearly. Let's change the bell to a high pass. Let's bring up the slope to about 24. So we'll want to take it up until we get rid of the low, until we start to hear it cut out the low end, and then we'll just bring it back down slightly from there. Great. Let's go ahead and take a listen to that with just the low on. Do that again so you can hear it. Works right about there. So what I notice here is that there is no kick drum coming through. The 808 has taken up all of the energy from the low end, and it's problematic. In mastering one, we can use a Pultech EQ to do that. But what we're going to do is use the Kirchhoff to create a dynamic Pultech type EQ so that we can listen to it and have the kick drum punch through on the low end in spite of the fact that it's being overrun by the sub in this mix. What we'll want to do first is go ahead and add a bell filter. Well, for now, we'll just stick with the stock bell filter. And let's open up the dynamic section by pressing the D button on the controller down here. What we'll want to do is go ahead and we're going to set the above range, above the threshold range, and we're going to go ahead and give it, let's say, 4 dBs of dynamic range. We'll leave the ratio at 70 for now. Let's speed up the attack. We want this to hit pretty hard. Let's bring it down quite a ways. And we want to go away pretty quickly too, so I'm going to shorten the release down to about 100. Well, we can listen to that later and see how it goes. One really neat feature with the Kirchhoff is the detect function has both the detect area and the relative area. The relative area does is it listens to the overall energy and includes that in the calculation for the detection. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to set the detect to free. This will solo for us, so let's go ahead and play the track. And we'll listen for the kick drum knock. That's it right there. You can see the meter running. So bring the threshold down a little bit so we're getting some movement. If you look at the EQ now, you can see that is bouncing the low end with the kick drum. I think it's a little hard hitting, so I'm going to bring the ratio down a bit. And to get a little more accuracy, I'm going to bring the relative percentage down so it's kind of just taking from the kick drum altogether. Okay, so now let's solo our frequency band and figure out where we want to put this kick pump. So we want to keep it below that 808. So I think right about there, right just around 40, let's give it 43, let's be good. I've given it a little bit of a lift, so I'm gonna bring that back down. And let's go ahead and compare that to our reference track, which is this track before. Put sub on, bring it back up. And with what we've done, got a lot more knock on that kick. All right. So to get more of a Pultech feel, we're going to make this pop out even more. What we'll do now is we'll add another bell curve just above the other bell curve, and we will go ahead and make it dynamic, and we're going to go ahead and make it free. We're going to bring the relative down, tighten it up, and we're going to put it in the same spot where we had set the other ones. Go back to the left where the knock is. Okay, so it's right there. Bring that down in the same area. Now it's firing as well. Well, in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to take the above range down. And now you have a dynamic Pultech happening here. Let's leave that on for a moment and take a listen to what it sounds like, comparatively speaking. For your reference, what we've done now. I think we'll need to adjust the frequency on that. Yeah, we're going to tighten that up a little bit. Might need to give it a little more range. Giving a little more of an analog flavor. So let's go ahead and go down to the British G and do the low mid bell. This is the original. Original. I believe we're going to need to lower this down a little bit more. Lower the whole thing down a tiny bit. Bring the ratio back up on that. We might need to bring our high pass down a little bit. Let's turn that up a little bit though, so we can hear what that sounds like. Original. And with the exaggerated kick low end. Let's take a listen to our high mids and highs. Just the highs. Snare's taking up a little bit too much space in the high end. It's not giving the rest of the high end room to breathe. So let's do sort of the opposite end with this. Make a dynamic high end control. So what we're going to do here is put a note up in the highs. Add the dynamics to it. Now set it for free. And then let's go ahead and tighten up the Q on that. And again, by using the threshold meter on the EQ, we can see where we can try to find where the snare is hitting the hardest. That's it right there. So let's bring the threshold down. And what we're going to do is go ahead and give this range how we're going to go. We're going to go down this time, right? So we're going to take the range down. We want to tighten that up a little bit. So let's turn it off. You see how the hi-hat becomes more clear? Turn it down.
Lovely and delicious.
That's fair where we're at. The original. So he's done.
I've been told he can't be sold. He's not vicious or malicious, just lovely and delicious.
So let's find out where the snare is in the high end. That's it right there. I think it still needs a little more brightness in the high end. Pulling the snare out of it has kind of dulled it a little bit. So let's take a listen and let's put some high end in it. Let's add another node. And go through and select EQ 250 high shelf. Put a high shelf in. And let's go ahead and give it a little gain. Take a listen to it. Where we want to put it.
Or malicious, just lovely and delicious.
Bypass that.
He can't be sold. He's not vicious or malicious, just lovely and delicious.
Last thing I want to do is go ahead and add tilt EQ right towards the center here.
He can't be sold. He's not vicious or malicious, just lovely and delicious.
So a little higher, a little lower, and that's let's try it. Let's go the other way. Bring it down a little lower.
He's not vicious or malicious, just lovely and delicious.
All right. Let's take a listen. So let's update our level matching. Make sure that we're totally matched on levels through the listen hub. Let's go ahead and listen to our reference. Check out the reference. And let's switch to what we've done. All right, so the last thing I want to do is exaggerate the bottom end a little bit more. I think we have room to give a little more kick to it. We're going to go ahead and run it through compression again later. And I want it to pump a little. So let's go ahead. Go back to our lowest EQ. Increase the ratio a little bit and back up. Adjust it, make sure it's only the kick drum hitting, right? So you bring the pressure up a little bit. A little more range. We might try lowering the frequency a little bit. Oh, there we go. Right down 40. Okay, so let's take a listen one more time. Here's the original. And the change. It's a lot punchier. You can see that we picked up dynamic range as well. And that's it. That track is ready to master. I think the Kirchhoff EQ does a fantastic job of fixing problem mixes. Hats off to Plug-in Alliance and 3-Body Technology. Great EQ. Sounds fantastic. Love the analog emulations. It really works well. If this helped you out at all, hit like and subscribe. Thanks.